Junior. Sa mga oras na ito, makakasama natin sa mga oras na ito ang dating Assistant Secretary ng Presidential Legislative Liaison Office, dating Commission on Filipinos Overseas Undersecretary at Executive Director, kasalukuyang PDP Laban, Executive Director at Membership Committee, Assistant Secretary Astra Pimentel Naik. Ma'am, magandang hapon po. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Henry. Magandang hapon sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan na kasubaybay sa Euro TV. Thank you for the invitation. Nakalimutan mo yung pinaka-latest ko na position, which was the Department of Energy Undersecretary.
Alright, my bad, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, simulan ko. Nitong nakaraan, naglabas ng desisyon ng Supreme Court laban doon sa impeachment complaint ni VP Sara at dineklara nga itong unconstitutional. What is your take on this, ma'am?
This is a victory of the people and the Constitution of the Philippines. No? Nakita natin kung paano po na nagdesisyon ng bigay ng unanimous decision ang lahat ng justices ng Supreme Court. And for me, this is a very big win for the Filipino people and the Constitution. Kung kaya natutuwa tayo at nagpapasalamat tayo, and siyempre, gusto kong i-acknowledge si Justice Leonen for a very beautifully written decision, no? Na napakaganda at nakakaantig ng puso, at dito natin makikita that really the Supreme Court is the ultimate in agency or ng ating pamahalaan, no? Na dudulugan ng taong bayan. And maybe sabihin ko na lang din kasi maraming critics, di ba? Tungkol dito sa decision, especially from the House of Representatives, which we have heard that they are going to file a motion for reconsideration. It's their right, no? Pero ang masasabi lamang natin dito na nagsalita na po unanimously ang Supreme Court tungkol dito at ang mga justices natin. And siguro sasabihin lang din natin sa ating mga kababayan na itong desisyon ng Supreme Court ay ikinagagalak natin dahil nga po nakita natin that one agency cannot abuse its power. The impeachment is there in the Constitution, yes, pero dapat hindi mo abusuhin yung power na yon. And Congress, the Senate, and as well as the House of Representatives must observe the proper way. Sabi nga ni Justice Leonen, no, there is a right way to do the right thing at the right time.
Correct, ma'am. Alright, ma'am, naitulak itong impeachment complaint. Alam naman natin lahat na nasa ilalim ng pamumuno ni House Speaker Martin Romualdez. And sa pagbubukas ng 20th Congress, mananatili siya bilang House Speaker. Ano sa tingin mo yung magiging buka ng Kongreso dito sa pagbubukas ng 20th Congress?
Oh, very interesting actually yung nangyaring eleksyon ng House Speakership today, kasi alam nyo nung nakaraan na House Speakership election, nakita natin na parang kumpul-kumpul silang lahat, whether sila na political party, they were leaning, even the minority was leaning towards the speaker.
Yes.
Ngayon, nakita ninyo yung boto, there are a lot of independent voters, hindi bumoto ng, hindi nag-join sa minority, hindi nag-join sa majority. So there's a chunk already that's giving the message to the people na hindi buo na ngayon ang suporta kay Speaker Martin Romualdez, even if he won as a speaker. Kasi alam natin it's a numbers game, sa House of Representatives as well as the Senate. Pero yung ugali ng pagboto ngayon ng ating mga kongresista, there's a new, exciting ito para sa akin, sa pananaw ko, Henry, kasi mga kababayan, meron pong mga dating kaalyado si Speaker Martin Romualdez who did not vote for him and did not join the minority as well because they want independence, no?
Correct.
So, alam mo, kapag ang isang bagay ay merong maliit na butas, there is a tendency na ang butas na yan ay mas lalaki pa, no? So, ito ay, dapat careful talaga si Speaker Martin Romualdez dahil there is the danger that he is facing ahead na yung butas na yan ay mas lalaki pa. So, beware, Speaker Martin Romualdez, you cannot have 100% confidence na ikaw ay mananatiling House Speaker in the 20th Congress.
Alright. Pero sa tingin mo, ma'am, kapag upo niya sa 20th Congress, itutuloy pa kaya itong impeachment? Kasi alam naman natin na siya yung speaker that 19th Congress at itunulak itong impeachment ni VP Sara.
Malayo pa yung end no ng panahon kung saan pwede silang magtulak ulit ng impeachment.
Alright.
You still have around 6 or 7 months no to go, and sa isang iglap at sa isang kisap mata ay maraming pwedeng mangyari. And sabi ko nga, itong butas na nakikita ko ngayon sa kanyang leadership, malaking ito dagok sa kanya bilang House Speaker. And whether all of the congressmen will still support, or majority of the congressmen will still support for another impeachment complaint in 2026 is a big question. At alam natin yung performance ni Vice President Sara Duterte in the coming months and how she speaks with the people would also be a determinant factor para sa maaaring posibilidad na meron pang ulit na magsampa ng impeachment complaint against her in 2026.
Okay. Speaking of VP Sara, ma'am, nagpahayag siya na hindi siya dadalo dito sa ika-4 na SONA ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. How do you think this, ma'am?
It's actually her right, no? Alam natin, this is not the first time na hindi siya nag-attend ng SONA.
Yes.
Because last year, hindi rin siya nag-attend ng SONA. Because, alam mo yung, sinabi nga niya, I would rather choose to serve the people on the day of the SONA because the SONA of the President is meant to deliver the message to the people. Alam niyo, ang SONA supposed to be is the honest and truthful report of the accomplishments of the administration, considering that VP Sara is no longer part of the administration of BBM because she was taken out as the Secretary of Department of Education. Nag-resign na po siya doon at hindi na siya parte ng executive direction ng ating Pangulo. In fact, she is considered as the opposition of the President right now dahil nga siya pa yung in-impeach, di ba? She has been performing, and in fact, siya yung may pinakamataas na approval and trust rating sa lahat ng mga government officials natin, whether elected or appointed. So, yung kanyang hindi pagsipot is a natural tendency of the Vice President dahil mas pipiliin niya na makasama ang taong bayan. In the same manner that other senators also are not joining the SONA.
Sino?
I believe the PDP Laban senators are not joining the SONA, are not attending. Senator Amy Marcos also are not.
Senator Robin.
Senator Robin will not also attend. Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Bongo will not be attending the SONA. So they can hear din naman the speech of the President later on and review what is the report that he is going to deliver to the people.
Ma'am, National Chairman of the PDP Laban, which is former President Rodrigo Duterte. How is him?
Physically, hindi natin nakikita except na yung kanyang pamilya, no? Because those who are allowed to visit him and see him personally are only his legal team and his direct family. So, we can only rely on what they tell us, no? Kung kumusta ang Pangulong Duterte. Sabi nila, mentally, he is very sharp and yung joy niya, nandoon naman, yung acceptance niya sa mga nangyayari sa kanyang buhay, it's except for his health, no, na pumayat siya. And we have to take that according to how the family delivers the report to the people na pumayat talaga si Pangulong Duterte. And ayan yung aking pin, bring him home. Kasi we really believe that he does not deserve to be kidnapped and he does not deserve to be detained in a foreign land. And it is the call of the people. Alam ko, nakita naman natin sa social media, wherever, all over the Philippines and all over the world. In fact, he is the only detainee of the ICC that has ever received this kind of attention worldwide. And yung constant presence ng ating mga OFWs and mga Filipinos overseas na nandoon araw-araw para tingnan kung ano ang mangyayari sa kanya. This is unprecedented worldwide. And gusto natin pasalamatan ang lahat ng ating mga kababayan na patuloy na sumusuporta sa PDP Laban Chairman na si Pangulong Duterte.
Alright. Bring him home, ma'am. Kamusta yan? Kamusta yung laban natin dyan?
The Bring Him Home is an ongoing movement, no? And right now there's a new message that we have also, Free Duterte Now, no?
Alright.
So it's not just about bringing him home, but an appeal to the ICC to free him, because the Filipino people, majority of the Filipino people, believe that what he did during his term as an executive decision to free the Philippines of drugs and insurgency
Correct.
is felt by the people, and
Tama.
it is supported by the people. In fact, the very people who brought him to the Hague, no, were also part of the team that implemented his executive decision to free the streets with drug addicts, drug lords, drug trade. Alam nyo, sobrang nakakalungkot na ngayon ay bumabalik na ang mga problema natin tungkol sa droga. Ang daming crime which are related to drug addiction and drug trade na nangyayari sa ating lipunan. Nakikita nyo yung mga drug addicts na naglalambitin sa sa wire ng ating mga kuryente at nakukuryente at namamatay pa because it's not being curbed,
Tama. Alright. Ma'am, itwist ko ng konti. Naging usap-usapan noong nakaraang linggo itong PNP Chief General Nicolas Torre and Acting Mayor Baste Duterte boxing match. Ano masasabi niyo rito, ma'am?
The boxing match that has been determined by only one person. Maraming nagsabi na naduwag daw si Mayor Baste Duterte
Anong
doon
katotohanan?
sa laban. Hindi po ito totoo. Unang-una, you have to listen to the whole Dabawenyo Basta Dabawenyo podcast of Mayor Duterte, wherein he was discussing so many national issues. Ni-raise niya ang maraming issues sa ating lipunan na kailangang sagutin in preparation of the SONA, di ba? So, out of the 100% discussion ni Mayor Baste, there was only a small portion na natanong lang siya doon sa approximately 0.5% of the whole discussion lang yung tungkol sa boxing.
Yes.
Actually, it's not boxing. Ang sabi niya, kapag nagkasuntukan kami ni General Torre, mabubugbog ko siya. It was not actually a challenge,
Yes.
di ba? It was a statement because of what happened to his father. The motivation of his heart when he said that was actually a love of a son to his father, no?
Correct.
Na mahal ni Mayor Baste ang kanyang tatay, and even what happened in Davao, yung nangyari kay Pastor Kibuloy, because there were so many things that the PNP chief has done in Davao City which is not according to the taste, no, and according to the agreement and the sentiments of the Davaoenos. And when he said, pag nagkasuntukan tayo, mabubugbog kita, ibig sabihin,
Walang paghahamon.
Oo, walang paghahamon. But then, General Torre twisted it, no?
Alright.
At ginawa niya na naghamon daw si Mayor Duterte. And what's so sad about it is that Mayor Duterte applied for a travel authority way back in June of 2025, 1 month ago, na nagpapaalam siya na magbabiyahe siya to Singapore July 25 to 29.
Okay.
His travel authority was given to him on July 20.
Approved.
Oo, di ba? July 19 si Mayor Baste nagsalita tungkol doon sa which sabi ko nga 0.5% lamang sa whole context of the discussion, kasama na doon yung mga issues na dapat harapin ng ating pamahalaan. And out of the 100%, yun pa ang tinake up ng administrasyon, ng mainstream media, at ni General Torre, di ba? Pumili sila ng isang napakaliit na aspeto doon sa buong kwento, at yun ang pinalaki. And to think na 19 iyon, 20 na-approve yung kanyang travel authority, 24, nag-issue si General Torre ng kanyang, comeback. Sabihin natin comeback to the challenge daw of a boxing, of a suntukan match, di ba? And alam ng DILG, which is very disappointing for Secretary Junvic Rimulya, no? Na he was even present at the sa Rizal Stadium, no? For the matching bout, the boxing match, no? Na present ka pa, ikaw yung pumirma ng travel authority ni Mayor Baste. And that's so saddening para sa atin. This is not a joke because you have been turning the tables around. You have not been truthful of what really transpired. And napaka one-sided, di ba? Ako yung di ba, parang ako ang magdedetermine ng araw, ako ang magdedetermine ng ng venue, ako ang magdedetermine ng purpose kung bakit tayo magba-boxing match. And the sad truth is that they have used it as an alibi, no? Sabi ko nga in my post na I respect PNP Chief General Torre kasi bago naman siya naging general, marami din naman siyang pinagdaanan sa pagserbisyo niya. And I think there is still hope for him. You just admit you're wrong, di ba? Huwag mong panindigan yung pagkakamali mo. Unang-una, hindi mo nararapat ginawang showbiz boxing match ang sinabi ni Mayor Duterte. You have to understand what was in his heart before he uttered those words. And you have to understand the whole context of the podcast that was released during that time. And yung sabihin mo na ikaw lahat na hindi mo naman kinuha ang agreement ng kabilang kampo kung available ba siya. And to think they know it. PNP is under DILG. Secretary Rimulya could have told General Torre, oy, may biyahe si Mayor Baste. In fact, si Mayor Duterte said, sa Tuesday, Wednesday, another day, you can call the boxing match.
Sorry to cut you, ma'am. May lumalabas kasi kumakalat na magkakaroon daw ng rematch, allegedly. Pero, personally, ma'am, para sa inyo, dapat bang pagtuunan pa ng pansin yung mga ganito?
Personally, para sa akin, hindi na.
Alright.
Unang-una, dehado naman talaga, even if General Torre ay may training as a policeman, sa edad, sa height, sa weight, dehado siya. And I don't want, kasi si Mayor Baste, even if he's a very respectful person,
Okay.
The way I have known him, the way na nakilala ko, kaya nga tingnan mo kung gaano niya kamahal yung tatay niya. I believe in his heart. Ganun din ang respeto niya sa mga nakakatanda sa kanya. And I don't believe, sabi ko nga, choose humility over pride. Choose wisdom over pride. Kasi pride na lang yun ang di ba? Hindi namin kailangan hindi kailangan ni Mayor Baste maging proud na kaya niyang talunin o si General Torre. He should set a good example to the Filipino people na despite you being ridiculed by the chief PNP, you don't have to prove that you are powerful just by saying yes to a boxing fight. So, ako naniniwala ako sa puso ni Mayor Duterte, naniniwala ako sa kanyang kakayanan. Hindi niya kailangan, yun yung sinasabi natin, power need not prove itself.
Alright. Ma'am, ilang oras bago yung sona ni Pangulong Marcos, anong gusto mong sabihin sa kanya at anong gusto niyo pong mabanggit, inaasahang mabanggit niya at anong grado mo sa kanya? Unahin natin doon sa inaasahang mabanggit, ma'am.
Unahin natin sa kanyang mabanggit, I believe he would mention his recent visit in the US, yung kanyang kasunduan na pinasok doon sa Amerika. In fact, they were so proud when they said that he is the first daw na inimbitahan. Ako, I'm doubtful if it was really an invitation or it was a summon. Di ba? Para
yun.
sa akin, magkaiba yun. Di ba?
Magkaiba yun.
Parang sinamon ka. Kasi look at how they presented themselves when they were present before the media. Around 35 minutes of talk time. Pero hindi naman siya ang nagsalita. Di ba? Pagka bisita ka, like for example, ngayon, bisita
Yes.
mo ako. Ako yung mas binibigyan mo ng oras magsalita because I'm your visitor. Di ba? Pero nakita mo doon sa nangyari, doon sa
Pag-uusap.
pagtitipon at pag-uusap nila, barely 5 minutes was given to him to speak, di ba? Kumbaga, binola ka lang ni Trump. I have nothing against Trump, no? Because he is a negotiator, he's a businessman, he is the president of the United States of America. Natural na para sa kanya, he would do everything to put his country at the advantage. And yan yung sinasabi ko na ang nangyari doon, sobrang kawawa natin as a bansa, sobrang kawawa, nagmukhang kawawa si Pangulong Marcos. I would have chosen, sabi ko nga, kahit yung mga ibang bansa hindi naman pumunta sa Amerika, they were able to get a good negotiations with POTUS, no? POTUS Trump. Pero tayo, parang mas lalo tayong naging kawawa. But I think he is going to brag about it during the SONA. Oo, di ba? And nakakalungkot that we are still going to be implemented with a 19% tariff sa ating mga goods na pupunta sa Amerika, but zero tariff of all the products of the US dito sa Pilipinas. Alam nyo, in a long-term na pag-uusap, napaka-disadvantageous para sa mga kababayan natin at sa mga sang Pilipino itong 0% tariff ng Amerika, dahil sa long term tayo yung magsasuffer kasi hindi naman pipiliin yung produkto natin kasi mataas ang pero lahat ng produkto ng Amerika, so it's actually Americanizing Philippines, no? So lahat ng produktong papasok ng Amerika dito sa Pilipinas ay mas makukuha natin at a fair price because it's lower because there's no tariff, no? And sa long term, ang magsasuffer actually are our industry, no, ng Pilipino. So, nakakalungkot.
Grado from
Grado sa kanyang
1 to 10. Sa kanyang unang 3 taon.
Alam mo, meron akong maraming notes. Because, di ba, the SONA actually is your grading system or the weighing scale, di ba? So SONA 2024 to SONA 2025. You're supposed to report to the people from your SONA 2024 anong nangyari na achievement mo para sabihin mo ngayon sa taong bayan at kung ano yung direction mo for the next year.
Correct.
So his SONA of 2024 uttered so many promises. So, sabihin ko lang siguro, a few. May oras pa naman siguro tayo makinig ang mga taong bayan. Kasi we would like to assess really how he has performed, his administration has performed. Isa sa mga niya, according na lang to sa hindi to in accordance to how he said it.
Alright.
Pero isa sa mga sinabi niya is yung collection efficiency, POGO, and economic status. Tatlong topic ito, pinag-isa ko lang dito, no? So, collection efficiency in the Bureau of Customs, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, lahat yan. Ano ba ang i-report niya sa atin ngayon? Yung efficiency nung And more importantly, if you have been efficient in collecting the taxes and all the collections natin under the Department of Finance, ano ang pinaggamitan mo nito at naramdaman ba ng taong bayan na nagamit sa tama yung mga pera na nakolekta ng ating pamahalaan? And to me, I think that's a failure.
Sa ayuda yata.
And you know that ayuda is never a long-term, walang long-term effect para sa taong bayan ang ayuda. It's always, in fact, alam naman to ng mga nakatanggap ng ayuda. Maraming nakatanggap ng ayuda na tinataya lang sa swertres, tinataya sa at online gambling pa. I thank those people, the legislators who are pushing for the abolition of online gaming, no? Kasi yun nga yung di ba, is Pogo really abolished in the Philippines? You might be surprised that there are still a lot of Pogo hubs, no? Na kasi may mga protector na nangyari, di ba? So, pinalitan ng Pigo, tapos nagkaroon pa ng online gambling. The Pigo, ako mas better na lang yung Pogo compared to Pigo because Pogo are foreigners ang nagagamble. Pigo, dito inland, mga Pilipino ang nagagamble. The online gaming, Pilipino din ang naggagamble. Pero ano yung effect nito sa atin? I remember kinikriticize nila si PRRD during his time, and Pogo never started during the time of PRRD. Only during the time of President Duterte, he used the revenues from the Pogo to help the people, sa disasters, sa healthcare, sa social services, and that was a very transparent governance that he showed to the people. And also yung economic status natin. We are the only country in the whole world that's giving up our gold reserves. So, nagmalaki si Pangulong Marcos during 2024 about the economic status of the Philippines, and yet we have seen how he has given up, no? And hindi ito dumaan sa proseso na tinanong ang taong bayan. In fact, they have decided it na magbenta tayo ng ating gold reserves of around 25%. All the other countries are raising up their gold reserves because that is your back up mo yan sa kahit anong krisis na dumating sa iyong bansa. But the Philippines has given up its almost 25% of gold reserves. And that's a sad truth, no? So how can you say na nagawa niya yung kanyang promise in 2024 of the economic stability of the country when in fact lumobo na yung utang natin, nawalan pa tayo ng gold reserves. Second is yung power supply, kasi pinagmalaki niya ito. When PRRD, kasi gusto ko itong i-discuss being the former Department of Energy Undersecretary. Kasi nung panahon ni Pangulong Duterte, napakaganda ng kanyang ginawa. In fact, we had less brownouts, mas marami tayong nagawang mga programa para i-increase ang ating stability also on power supply, and we ended the term of PRRD na meron tayong energy efficiency program, no? And in fact, there was a target of having a renewable energy of 35% by 2030 and 50% by 2050. So since this is supposed to be part of the Build More program of President Marcos, medyo tayo dito kasi ang current source natin, we have 4.2% natural gas, and then we have 31% coal, 32.7 renewable energy, and 32.2 oil-based. And we have been targeting na sana umabot tayo hanggang 50% na renewable energy. So, in fact, in Mindanao and many other parts, bigla-biglang nagkaka-brown out na wala man lang pasabi, walang abiso. And in fact, ang daming problema ngayon ng mga cooperatives, electric cooperatives in the nation, in the country. And up to now, 80% of our energy source ay controlled by Meralco. So, napakarami ng dapat pa nating i-address tungkol dito. And kanina nag-usap yung sila Congressman Kabatbat, sila Attorney about rice and agriculture. Alam mo, gusto ko lang bigyan ng diin yung term na ginamit kasi ni Pangulong Marcos, which is boosting agriculture. So, the word boosting, kasi he promised in 2024 that the agriculture will be boosted ng So I am expecting paano na-boost ang agriculture. Sobrang dami ng problema natin sa food security. tumaas ang ating kamatis at 80 pesos, no? To
Kada kilo.
100 pesos a kilo. That's not agriculture boosting, no? So sobrang laki ng kailangan pang gawin. Disaster reduction. So
Kakatapos lang.
mahirap ang nangyari sa atin ngayon kasi ang gusto ng Pangulo tayo na yung
Mag-a-adjust.
without the plan, mag-a-adjust tayo at sabihin natin this is the new normal.
Alright. Ma'am, I'm sorry to cut you, pero naubusan na tayo ng oras, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you so much po for joining the program. Ito pa rin po ang Hero TV Philippines special coverage ng ika-4 na State of the Nation address ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Mga kaibigan, Assistant Secretary Astra Pimentel Naik. Ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
thank you,
Henry.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.